Happy Halloween, everyone. Jason Voorhees here, filling in for Aaron Rift. I think this is the first time he has ever missed a NoDQ review. I think I can do this. Let me throw it over to our moderator, Virtue. How's it going, Virtue?
Well, Jason, Mr. Voorhees, I really thought you were going to moderate this episode, but that's fine. I will do what I always do, and I am Virtue, and this is the No DQ review number 115, and I am being joined by a special elite panel this week. Of course, Big G is here, Robbie Weiss, and Jason Voorhees. What's up, everyone? I will start with you, Big G. What's going on, man?
Doing pretty good. Had a great weekend up in Gettysburg doing some Halloween stuff. Got a brand new laptop, which I am using right now. Celebrated my fiance's birthday. We went to Field of Screams, which was okay. I mean, it wasn't great as last year, but with the whole COVID stuff going on, they did what they could do to scare people. They didn't have as many people in the haunted houses and the hay rides touching you and stuff like that. It was fun but different. What else? We had Hell in a Cell, and of course, football-wise, my Steelers won and still undefeated. Other than that,
you got to go all the way to the Super Bowl. It means nothing. So
I know. Anyways,
ask the Patriots about that.
Yeah,
I had a great weekend. So
I'm cutting you off, Big G. We're going to Robbie Weiss. What's up? What's up, Robbie Weiss?
Crazy week. I'm engaged to get married next October, and I think we decided we're still going to do that, but I think we're just going to get married this week. I think we're just going to go later this week and do that. I don't know. So I guess that's a big life thing, right? That's cool. Yeah. Hell in a Cell was fun. That was good to watch, and then I had to watch Raw. So now we're here, and that's what's happening.
Here we are. Now we are going to talk wrestling, and Jason Voorhees will be part of the conversation. Now, Jason, look, everybody knows the Halloween theme is the iconic theme, but I really enjoy the Friday the 13th theme song with the orchestra, I actually like it better than the Halloween. So I just wanted to tell you that. You got anything else to say before we get started?
I got to give you a big hand on that one. I think that you're right on the money with that. I really enjoyed Hell in a Cell. Monday Night Raw, not so much. But
now, Jason, there are super chats. I don't know if you can see them, but Aaron Rift would always read them, so make sure you pay attention to the chat. Hopefully you can read.
I got it. I can read, believe it or not.
Okay.
The Cleaver Colin Andrew with a $5 super chat says, who gets kicked off Thunderdome for repping NoDQ? This guy. Here's to a great review. Thank you for that, Colin Andrew. We appreciate you putting up the Fire Virtue t-shirt design on the Thunderdome. That was quite awesome. So I'm going to give you a hand as well for that. And we have a $2 or €2 super chat from Adrian. He says, don't get merry, lads, would be my advice. That's the advice to Robbie Weiss.
I'm good. Thanks, though.
Yeah, I'm good, too.
Yeah, especially coming from a wrestling chat. Like, I'm not going to take advice from you, but take your own advice. All right, Jason, we're ready to kick this off. All right, well, hey, you might enjoy this first topic because it's the fallout and our final thoughts of Hell. Not Jason Goes to Hell, but Hell in a Cell. And it was very eventful in terms of the Sasha Bailey Hell in a Cell match. Sasha became the SmackDown Women's Champion. Roman Reigns continued his tribal chief legacy as he basically won because Jimmy came out and got caught up in the crosshair, and Jay said, I quit. And the best part of that match was at the end, Afa, Sika, the head shrinkers, the wild Samoans, whatever you want to call them, his relatives, father, grandfather, uncles, that's awesome. That is the Samoan blood, the history of wrestling, and Roman is your top guy. And you just have to deal with it, people. Randy Orton did become the WWE champion. And I know Aaron Rift, I wish he was on here because he originally thought that, then he kind of backtracked on it. I really want to know his opinion. Maybe Jason will have a good opinion on that. And guess what? We've all complained about Otis having the Money in the Bank briefcase. He doesn't have it anymore. And I think another match that happened was Elias and Jeff Hardy. Whatever. So, Robbie Weiss, what's your thoughts on the fallout of Hell in a Cell?
So I forgot the Elias and Hardy match actually happened. It's nowhere in my notes. So Hardy match actually happened. It's nowhere in my notes. So I don't even, it didn't even register for me. For me, I thought it was pretty solid. I thought it was pretty good for a pay-per-view. Way better than last year. I thought Sasha and Bayley stole the show. And I know people were a little bit critical of Bayley for her stupid building techniques and duct tape. I thought it was kind of funny. Like I just thought it was genuinely funny and entertaining to watch. I called Drew losing. I believe I was the only one.
Pat yourself on the back.
I did. My arm is actually really tired. I was doing that all weekend. Super happy Randy Orton won, by the way. And like I said in the predictions, I feel that WrestleMania works best when there's someone chasing the heel for the title so they can have that big moment. And I very much believe Randy's going to put someone over at WrestleMania. And it's probably not going to be an up-and-comer. It's probably going to be Edge. But and the Roman ending I thought was good. I mean, some people said they didn't think it needed a cage match. I thought the cage match was fine, or the cell match was fine for Roman. It's just like, I thought it went way too long. I was watching it, with my girl, and that was something she kept saying. She's like, "This is still going on," and it was just.
It was like 45 minutes.
It was too much. It could have been
which
15
explains
minutes.
Only 5 matches.
Right, exactly. But I think that match could have gone 15 minutes. 15 good minutes and been much better off, but I was happy with that. And then I watched Raw, and then now we're here, like I said earlier.
Now, I'm not going to complain about Orton. I think I even said this on the preview and predictions that, like, I picked McIntyre, but because I said this is the year of Orton during the pandemic, this really culminated nice for him to become the 14-time champion. So, Big G, thoughts on all of this, and Jason goes to Hell in a Cell.
I thought Hell in a Cell was good. Each of the Cell matches told their own story. I thoroughly enjoyed Roman and Jay. 45 minutes is long. I mean, Robbie said 15. They could have even gone 25 minutes, and that would have been good. I liked Roman's acting in there, pretending to be all sad and the fake tears and whatnot, just to do his thing and get over and put Jimmy in the guillotine and have Jay quit. I'm sure they may have, after Survivor Series, they may have one more match, but I doubt that. I did enjoy Bayley and Sasha as well. Bayley was champ for over 380 some days, if I'm not mistaken. Sasha beat her. I'm glad that happened. Orton winning, I'm glad he won. Other than that, thank God Otis isn't the Money in the Bank holder anymore. That was just Miz is the holder now, so we'll see what happens with him.
All right. Well, thanks for your thoughts, Big G. Over to you, Jason Voorhees.
Okay, well, Dwayne Atkinson sent in a $3 super chat. He says, "Is Jeff playing Jeff Meacham? His Twitter says so." I did correct that. You can blame that on Aaron Rift. I did make that correction. It does say NoDQ Big Baller G now. Thank you for that, Dwayne. And yes, the pay-per-view was very enjoyable from start to finish. The cell matches delivered. And I'm happy to see The Miz with the Money in the Bank contract. Hell in a Cell, fun show. Enjoyed it. I think 3 cell matches, it's a bit overkill. See what I did there?
Yeah.
I think you could have cut down 5 to 10 minutes from all 3 of the matches, or maybe even just eliminated one of the matches. As Aaron Rift said on the post-show for Hell in a Cell, he mentioned that the first cell match, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, could have been an I Quit match. Did not need to be inside the cell, but it's nitpicking. Show was very enjoyable.
Well, thank you for your thoughts, Jason. And, let's face it, 3 Hell in a Cell matches, the bloody red painting of the cell, you had to have at least enjoyed that part. So speaking of The Miz winning the Money in the Bank, now, he was relevant in the main event scene 10 years. I mean, it's been a decade, and it's better than Otis. But really, how is this Money in the Bank thing with Miz now going to end? Will he put it up on the line against somebody else? Will he cash it in and lose? Which is kind of what I think, because, why would he beat Orton, right? That's not going to happen. He's not going to beat Reigns. So who could he cash in on and actually win? I think Miz been there, done that. So, Robbie Vice, what do you think here, man? This is it's not a head scratcher because it's better than Otis. But how does this end?
So as it's famously been said, and it raised eyebrows when I said it initially. I don't like Otis. I didn't like Otis, and I never found him entertaining. I complained about him a lot, and he got old to everyone else really quick. I guess it didn't take as long for me. Yeah, I don't know. I think if Miz cashes in the briefcase, he's going to lose, unless if they're really adamant about doing something. It's not going to be Roman Reigns. He's not cashing in and beating Roman Reigns. But if he cashes in, say at WrestleMania when Edge is there, and it ends up being like a triple threat, it's something. I don't know. I don't know if I see Miz champion right now. I don't see him as a better contender than Orton. I definitely don't see him going against Roman Reigns. The only thing I can definitely say for sure is it is infinitely better than Otis, because it's just his gimmick is something that would have worked on the indie scene if he could have went to different arenas around the country and not be on TV. But when it's literally the same shtick every day, it's like he's just a fat version of Scotty 2 Hotty, right?
Now, how about this? Obviously we can think I don't know when Edge is going to be healthy, and he might not be ready for the Royal Rumble. So what about when Edge comes back for WrestleMania season when he is healthy, beating Miz to win the briefcase, and now he's got his shot against Orton? Just a possibility. We'll see what happens. Jason, I'm going to go to you next. We'll push Big D last this time.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. Something maybe not a lot of people are thinking of, because let's be real here. Miz is probably not going to successfully cash in. I don't think he's going to cash in on either Randy Orton or Roman Reigns successfully. So why not have a scenario where Miz actually loses the contract to somebody else? Maybe Edge comes in and wins the contract and cashes it in on Randy Orton at WrestleMania, and you could have somebody else, like maybe Big E, win the Royal Rumble and go on to WrestleMania to face Roman Reigns, if that is in fact the match for WrestleMania. Who knows if The Rock will even be there or not? But I think that's a great take there. Just something different. When was the last time we saw the Money in the Bank contract change hands twice in a calendar year?
I mean, they do that with the titles, right? Hot potato. So why not do that with the Money in the Bank contract? By the way, Jason, I'm very impressed. Out in Camp Crystal Lake, you have this technology. You're able to watch wrestling, get on the internet. That's awesome.
Well, I mean, it is 2020. If you go back and watch those classics, back in the day, you had very little in terms of technology. Now things are very advanced, and you can go out in the woods and you can get high-speed internet. It's awesome. I love it.
Well, you have been in space, too, so I take that back.
Yeah, that is true. Now, Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Says, Miz should cash in on Edge versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania, win the title, and then feud with John Morrison. I don't think that's going to happen, because I don't think Miz is going to get that push. Plus, John Morrison getting that push, I mean, let's be real here. He's there to put over other guys. I don't think he's going to be in any kind of main event program. And Report Card Radio does not like the idea of Edge winning the briefcase. He says that is too much.
No, I think Edge chasing him with the briefcase until Mania would be great. Having his music thing hit at the beginning or in the middle of an Orton match. I think if anyone's going
time too, like that's what
I'm saying. Gives him time to recover.
Don't rush him back to make a spot in the Rumble. Let him heal more.
Sting didn't do anything for a year and was the biggest draw in wrestling. Edge could do something similar to that.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Robbie Vice and Jason. Big G, I'm going to go over to you now. You got to follow that up.
Well, I'm going to disagree with all you guys.
Okay.
I think Miz is going to cash in on Randy Orton. He did it 10 years ago. I think he's going to do it again. He did it the night after Survivor Series. So I possibly can see that happening again, and him successfully cashing it in, and then him and Randy Orton have a feud over the title.
Now, would Randy win it back and become 15-time?
Yes, he could. I'm not going to say the Miz is going to have a lengthy reign.
What is in the water in Pittsburgh?
Wet water. There's no water.
Yeah, it's sludge. It's oil.
No. And them tossing the Money in the Bank briefcase around back and forth, that's just stupid. It really is. Yeah, I'm glad they got it off Otis and put it on somebody more legit who's had a longer career than Otis in the WWE. And, it's... I mean, if Miz doesn't cash in successfully, big whoop-de-doo. we all know wrestling is fake. It ain't gonna matter in the long run. So that's what I gotta say.
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
When has something being stupid ever stopped WWE from doing it?
Never.
Ever.
Yeah. And I really thought, okay, Jason.
Well, I'm actually going to go into a different topic, so whenever you're done, throw it back to me.
Well, okay, I don't know if it's a topic I was going to pick next, but Big G, are you completed with your thoughts on The Miz?
Yes.
Okay, Jason.
Okay. Our own TJS sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, I know The Fiend is not on the topic list, but what if Randy Orton is revealed to be controlling Bliss? Fiend, major babyface, I want Edge to face new guys. Do you think that's a good idea? I like The Fiend with Alexa Bliss. Randy Orton controlling her doesn't really make any sense to me, quite frankly.
No.
Not from a character standpoint, no. I mean, yeah.
Fiend and Bliss, keep them as their own thing. Good for you, TJS, for having that thought, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
But maybe WWE might do that because that's what they do.
As Aaron Rift would say, highly unlikely in all likelihood.
You seem very familiar with a lot of his things. You didn't do anything with Aaron, did you?
Well, Jay, he's a big fan of NoDQ. He listens to Aaron all the time.
course.
He's going to mimic it.
Of course. Between killing people, I gotta
As long as
stay up to
Aaron's
date
safe,
with the
that's all
latest
that
wrestling
matters.
news and
Yeah,
rumors.
Aaron's the one that. Yeah, Aaron's the one that went to the grave and stuck the metal pole in him when the lightning struck and brought Jason back to life. I mean, it wasn't Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah.
Slightly inconsiderate, I would say, but that's fine.
Here's a topic, right? So Drew McIntyre, I talked about Randy Orton having one hell of a run during the pandemic, and it culminated with him beating McIntyre for the WWE title. What is everybody's thoughts on Drew McIntyre's 2020? He had that exciting moment at the Royal Rumble, knocked out Lesnar, threw Reigns out to win it. Went to Mania, but he didn't have that moment in terms of crowd because of the pandemic. Carried the title during the pandemic, during the Performance Center, the Amway, Thunderdome, just lost it to Orton. What's everybody's grade on McIntyre? It's kind of a tough spot to be pushed up as the guy when this happened. And it kind of sucks for him because he was a babyface, really relying on those people in the crowd, especially for his Claymore countdown and all that, and that just kind of went away. So, Robbie, I'll go to you. Just what's your overall grade with McIntyre's run? I'll give my grade last, but I'll tell you what, not his fault, but it was underwhelming. And this
Really?
Randy, because Randy was so good. What do you think?
I don't agree with you. I thought Drew McIntyre, considering there's no fans there, was fantastic. I literally would give him an A or an A+. I don't think, dude, he's the second biggest star in the company. I think he's the second most. What's that? Behind Roman, for sure.
Just making sure you had that right.
Yeah, there's not a question about that. But he's the second biggest star in the company, and he's the top babyface in the company. And I think had there been fans there, he could have climbed even higher for sure. But man, who else is there? Who else babyface wise even comes close to Drew McIntyre? When fans start coming in the buildings again, they're going to be counting on that Claymore kick again. He got way better on the mic, and he got better on the mic with no one around. And I feel like that would be harder to navigate because even compared to a year ago, he is light years ahead of where he was. So I think it was a huge success. I think he's another big star, and like I said, A+. Like I don't think he could have done better, and I don't know of any other baby faces who would have been able to do that. Even Daniel Bryan. I don't think Daniel Bryan would have done as good as Drew McIntyre in this COVID era because he relies on that chant.
You're right. That's a good point. Now, Big G, I'm interested before I give my take, and then we have Jason's take on this. What do you think?
I'm gonna agree with Robbie. A. I'm gonna give him a solid A. I've always enjoyed Drew McIntyre ever since his pre-NXT days when he was the chosen one, and then he came back to NXT, and I started following him again. He was just badass, and then he went to the main roster, did his shtick with Dolph Ziggler and stuff, and then won the Royal Rumble last year. Got like the biggest pop that I think I've heard in like the longest time, maybe besides The Rock, obviously. He had some great feuds in the Performance Center with Rollins, and obviously he beat Lesnar at WrestleMania and whatnot. And then at Amway Center, did great things. And he and Orton had a great feud over the title this past summer. And I think Drew will just get better and better. and maybe. I mean, for me, it's Reigns, McIntyre, and then Orton. The top 3 stars in the WWE right now.
I bump Orton over McIntyre. Actually, I give Orton right now, because he's been here longer this year than Reigns, the top guy in the company. Reigns is like 1B, Orton 1A.
Okay.
And it's not McIntyre's fault to me. So before I continue with my thoughts, Jason.
First of all, Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, "Hey Jason, have you seen your movie Jason Goes to Hell?" I did like it because I was in it, of course, and it was definitely better than 3 from Hell. That's for sure. Anyways,
not even close, Jason. But that's all right. I really wish Rob Zombie would hook up with you. You could have an awesome. Let's not talk about Rob Zombie. Those never hike alone guys, dude. I'm telling you. But anyway, continue.
Okay, I enjoyed Drew McIntyre's reign. I was a little disappointed it ended so soon because you had new guys coming over from the draft that McIntyre could have feuded with. You could have had him against Braun Strowman. You could have had him against The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. I think there was more mileage you could have gotten out of Drew McIntyre as WWE Champion. And it just sucks that we never got to see him compete with an audience. That entire reign was without fans, and that sucked. I was hoping he would be able to maybe hold out until next year when we would have fans. As far as his future goes, I definitely think we will see him in the title picture again. Maybe he'll get a second run once we have fans, so maybe sometime in 2021 we'll see Drew McIntyre back in the WWE title hunt. But overall, good reign. A few duds like the Ziggler matches, but overall, I think it was a really solid WWE title reign.
Now, I think McIntyre should be lucky that the pandemic happened, because I claimed when he won the Royal Rumble that he was never going to win the title and Brock was going to beat him if we had fans and we were still traveling like normal. I'm not saying he wouldn't have went on maybe at SummerSlam. He maybe could have won it there against Brock, but I think he got lucky. And he was never going to win it anyway. And this was going to be another hope. Get your hopes up. Drew's the next star. And then boom, boom, Brock squashes him. Because we know how Vince McMahon does it. With that said, it's not Drew's fault that this all happened. So I wasn't going to give him a C+, but you guys convinced me. I'm going to give him a B-. His run is a B-. A B is not a horrible grade. Again, more because of the pandemic, not his fault. But to me, nothing super memorable other than the Orton stuff, which I got to pin a lot of that to Randy Orton. But maybe he'll get a chance to be the champ when the fans are back and we're back to normal, and then I can reevaluate. So, good discussion. I wanted to...
He should not have lost at a Hell in a Cell. I feel that his reign deserved to lose at a Big Four. One of the Big Four pay-per-views, he should have been able to lose it there. SummerSlam, maybe, I don't know. Maybe Mania, I don't know. I felt losing at just a throwaway pay-per-view in the middle of October, which is, I don't know.
Well, they did that with Sasha, too,
Right, yeah.
Let's shake things up and put the titles on new people. That'll help us going into the holidays. All right. Here's a topic. We're going to stick with WWE. Trust me, we'll be talking about something in AEW. Trust me. We talk about talent all the time. We've talked about who should be the next top stars that aren't, and different things. But there's always wasted talent, and we know how it works with the NXT people, right? Big G, and I think I might know who Big G's answer is going to be. Big G, I'll start with you here. Here's the topic. Actually, hold on. Jason's got his finger up.
Hemp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Says, "I believe they want to do Randy versus Edge at WrestleMania for the belt, and that's why Drew lost." Yes, that's probably what's going to happen. They will fight in their third and final match of the trilogy for the title. Now we can move on to the next topic. Thank you, Hemp.
By the way, you got your Friday the 13th Part 3 version going, because your hands are pretty clean, Jason. I mean, I'm just not used to that. But anyway. You got clean hands, not bloody, not dirty.
Well, there is a pandemic. You gotta have some good hygiene.
Big G, the biggest wasted talents: one female, one male on the main roster. Because we talk about how talents could go back to NXT, how they're hot in NXT, and then they come up and they flounder.
Yeah.
There's got to be two. Each of us, I hope we all have different ones. In the NoDQ Galaxy in the chat, who are the wasted talents? Not on their fault, not their fault, but creative's fault. Go, female, male. I know one of your answers. Come on, man.
Yeah, well, female is going to be Shayna Baszler. She should be the Raw Women's Champ right now. Yeah, she's the women's tag champ with Nia Jax. But I mean, look back at her NXT run. Yeah, it's NXT. It's a developmental brand, the third brand, whatever you want to call it. But she was so dominant down there. She had two reigns down there. She gets called up to the main roster, bites Becky's neck, makes Becky bleed, loses to Becky at WrestleMania. No, hold on. Dominates at Elimination Chamber, including Asuka. Loses to Becky at WrestleMania. Doesn't do anything for a couple months. She shows back up, does her thing, and now she's the tag champ with Nia Jax. And I'm sorry, the women's tag team titles don't mean diddly squat to me. Shayna should be the Raw Women's Champ.
So, okay,
she's not marketable.
So she's the wasted talent in your eyes, female-wise. Okay.
Yeah. Male-wise,
you knew these topics 12 hours ago.
yeah, I know. He's only been here for not that long, but I'm gonna go with Keith Lee. I think he had a great run in NXT. He should have stayed down there, kept the NXT title on him for a little bit longer. I feel it looks like to me Keith Lee has gotten older on Raw. He looks like his face looks a lot older than it did down in NXT. I don't know what it is about going to Raw, but it doesn't feel like the same to me with Keith Lee.
Well, Matt Riddle's jobbing now. Now, obviously, they're trying to lay him low with all the controversy. Yeah. That's just what they do.
Yeah, and you get thrown into these stupid matches with other people and whatnot. But that's just my opinion. I'm sure, like everybody, like you said, everybody's gonna have hopefully a different answer. So that's my take: Keith Lee and Shayna Baszler.
All right. Well, we're gonna pass over to Jason. This will be an interesting one.
You're talking about NXT stars to the main roster that have not lived up to their potential, right?
Any main roster, wasted talents. The top female and the top, because you could say Cesaro. I mean, and the top male.
Well, how about all of the guys in Retribution? First of all, this guy's Slapjack, like, what is this? Like, you think you're going to put some crappy mask on a guy and he's just going to automatically get over? No, you need to have a great character development. It's not just about throwing on a mask. You have to have some depth as far as character goes. And
Jason, I don't mean to cut you off. Great point, because guess what? You were just drowning in the lake as a kid still in the first movie. You had a burlap sack in the second movie. It took you almost halfway through your third movie before you put a mask on. You developed.
Absolutely. There was an evolution with that. There's so many guys. I agreed with a lot of the comments in the chat room. Big G mentions Shayna Baszler. Who's surprised about that? Nobody. But he's right. He is correct on that take. And Matt Riddle is definitely there. You look at him, and especially since going to Raw, he was doing okay on SmackDown, but now on Raw, he's not doing so well. And you have to wonder if it has anything to do with the speaking out movement and what happened with Candy Cartwright. You look at Keith Lee, they took away his music from him, and he's been losing via DQs and various other things. Ricochet is another guy who he went from facing Brock Lesnar, and now he cannot even get on television. Like, that guy has fallen so far. Pretty much everybody, even Slapjack, is more over than Ricochet at this point, as Psycho Jet Black might say. Big G?
Ricochet should have joined the Hurt Business. Look at Bobby
Ricochet
Lashley,
should
Shelton
join something
Benton,
where he doesn't talk.
and Cedric Alexander.
Yeah, you're
Ricochet
right.
sucks. Sorry.
So yeah,
Jason, any other thoughts on this?
there's a lot of guys, like I would say a good half of the roster could be utilized better. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, nobody's picked my two yet, so I'm going to give Robbie Weiss that opportunity. And who do you think?
Yeah. So females, I'm going to say Nia Jax. I don't like her, but I feel like she was booked way better in NXT than she was on the main roster. She went from being a force, just this monster, to someone who got bullied by a 10-pound Alexa Bliss and cried, and then wears enough makeup to cover 14 prom girls. I don't know. But I would say for the men, like Shinsuke Nakamura, like, dude, this guy was gigantic at NXT. He had the violinist that would come out and play his entrance music at the takeovers. He came up to the main roster. I was so excited for him. And he was just thrown into a random tag team with Cesaro. And if you're going to get thrown into a random tag team, I guess you could be fortuitous enough to go with probably the best tag team partner of the modern era, just for flexibility and who he could work with is Cesaro. But man, Shinsuke could have been something, and Nia Jax should have been something.
All right. Well, here's my pick. So female-wise, it's Mandy Rose. She had that feud, right? She had the whole love of interest with Otis, right? That was carrying Otis, not the Money in the Bank contract. Then we know what happened. She gets moved to Raw, and they just stick her in a tag team. Now, if this comes out of having the tag team titles, I'm still like, whip-de-doo. You need new stars. You're trying to make Lana a single star by slamming her through the table. You gave her a title shot. Mandy Rose has the looks. How do we know if she can't work an Asuka or the upper-level women like a Charlotte? Maybe when Charlotte comes back, Charlotte and Mandy Rose can have a feud, keep Charlotte away from the title just to help build Mandy Rose up. I just want to see new stars. I'm sick of saying the women aren't main event because Charlotte's not there, Becky's not there, and Ronda's not there. I know everybody clings around Bayley and Sasha. They still did not main event. Build more women, new women. Maybe you'll get back to the main event. Mandy Rose looks like money to me. So not just because of her look, but I think she can be serviceable in the main event role. We don't know how great she can work in big stage matches. We've never seen her, but she did a pretty good job so far when she's had the opportunities. Male. Daniel Bryan. He was one of the hottest heels last year, and they had to put Kofi Mania over, even though that was short-lived and got squashed by Lesnar. And what has Bryan done since? Because he didn't go to Saudi Arabia. Is this The Office? Yes, The Office is petty. Now, yes, he's had kids and he's been gone a lot, so maybe that affects it. But Daniel Bryan is a money man. Look at WrestleMania 30. Now, I don't care if there's no fans or not. You got to start building this guy up like he means something. And right now, come on. Daniel Bryan should be one of your top people, not mixing it up in the mid-card or talking about tag team wrestling or anything like that. This is ridiculous, and that there must be some type of grudge. They must want him to be the B-plus player that Stephanie always said he was. That's why I pick him. I know TJS will agree with me on that, too. So, Jason.
We have a $2 super chat from, I don't even know if I should say this, Freddy Krueger. He says, I'll have my revenge, Jason. You sure about that? You sure you want your revenge, Freddy? Just saying.
Well, yeah, you left the lake with his head in your hand. I mean, I don't care if it winked or not. It was just the reflex. So
whose hand do you think this is, by the way?
God, I hope it's not Aaron's.
No comment.
Any other ones, Jason, before I move on?
No, I think we're good.
All right, here's a fun one. Robbie and I talked about this last week on our little show. So Robbie, I'll get you out of the way first on this one. What did you think of the Jericho and MJF Carol Burnett musical festival segment that we know all the AEW marks loved? A couple people like Tommy Dreamer and Mick Foley, I don't know, guys that are maybe looking for a job.
Nicest, no. They're not even, those are the nicest people in wrestling, by the way. They're going to say good things about everything.
But we know what Jim Cornette thought about it, and there were others that it just, not that it wasn't entertaining, but it hurt MJF and what he is supposed to become, in my opinion. So what is your take with this supposedly best segment ever wrestling, Jericho MJF musical?
I got my list. Okay, so I want to say one thing off topic real quick. The Robbie Vice Facebook is gone. I don't know. I don't know. It's gone. So I'm just saying, I get zero preparation for these reviews. I know none of these topics that are going to be going. So just want to throw that out there. Dude, this MJF thing, first of all, I wasn't pissed. A lot of people were like outraged and mad. I was genuinely disappointed that they would do that to MJF's character, because what makes MJF so great is that he's always in character. He gives the kids the finger. It's funny, right? We like to see it. MJF would not do this. When I saw MJF at that stupid Battle Royal where he was literally the only shining thing of that first AEW pay-per-view that I paid too much to watch, MJF MJF was there, man, and he was it. And following on Twitter, and he was just great. But for him to do this, it's just like, first of all, the Jericho thing just reeks of desperation. Chris Jericho at this point, he comes off as desperate as the Undertaker for attention, and I thought that would be something that would be hard to pass. So I'm not a fan of it. I think it's the worst thing MJF has ever done on TV. I haven't followed him enough to say his whole career, but through what I've seen so far, it's the worst business decision. And Chris Jericho just seems to be kryptonite of charisma lately, because everything he's done recently has just been cringy and bad. So I don't know if that's his new gimmick, but I'm not digging what I see from that right now.
Now, Robbie, is it because maybe you've been on NoDQ.com and you read about Chris Jericho donating $3,000 to Donald Trump? Does that possibly have anything to do with it?
So as I try to separate people from their person, I can separate their character. I think the character of Chris Jericho is that he's a giant piece of shit. But I would say as a performer, he's entertained me most of his career. But I would just say from a career standpoint, it's just the stuff with Orange Cassidy. He's just doing stuff for the cheap indie mark pops. And it's just not something that is befitting of a legend. This is something that I'm not going to say any names, but like this is like someone who maybe wasn't ever a big star that's still doing things just to be relevant. And Chris Jericho doesn't need to do that, but for some reason, money, he is.
Yeah. Well, he's getting Tony Khan's mark money.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Jason, you're a little out of focus.
Jason.
We do have a few super chats here. One from Johnny Boy. He's going off topic. He says, Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan needs to happen. Having Roman bring up the 2015 Rumble and how he never recovered from that would be awesome. I'm sure we will see Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns at some point. Maybe the Royal Rumble, a buffer opponent for Roman Reigns until WrestleMania. I do not think it's going to be at WrestleMania, but I think we'll see it at some point. Royal Rumble might be a good show. And Freddy Krueger sent in a $5 super chat. He says, I would have won our fight, of course, if not for interference from John Ritter's son. Perhaps. I'm not going to say that.
There you go, Jason. Your reception's getting a little fuzzier there. How's it? Is there a storm over in Crystal Lake right now?
There's always a storm in Crystal Lake. I mean, let's be real here. It's always raining.
Well, hopefully,
if you watch the movies, it's always raining. It's either raining or windy. You know how it is. It's never sunny.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
I feel like Jason's back on the dial-up, though.
Yeah. But we'll give him a little breather here for a second. We'll go over to Big G on the Jericho MJF segment. The hills are alive with the sound of music. Or I don't know if I was thinking maybe more Grease. Like, I don't know. Just
I felt it. I thought it was cheesy. I started following MJF back in 2016 when he was around MCW. Oh, like Arby said, he's always in character. You know, when you go to the meet and greets and stuff like that, he would just be a total douchebag to you.
You never sang a musical at a meet and greet?
No.
You should.
I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure of it. It's just weird seeing MJF. Why would he do this? I mean, yeah, probably for the money. And just to, because he's a mark for Chris Jericho himself. He's like, oh, I get to work with Jericho? All right, I'll sing with you. We know Jericho is he's the rock star. He's doing Fozzy and stuff like that. And I think he's just getting up there in age, and he's getting his paycheck. And Tony's like, well, you know what? You're going to do a musical with MJF. All right, whatever. And it's weird seeing Jericho like this as well. I mean, the best thing that Jericho did in WWE in the past couple of years was the
Festival of Friendship.
Thank you, Festival of Friendship with Kevin Owens. And I kind of see this going that way next week when they do this whole town hall thing with MJF. And I think this is going to lead to a match between these two at Full Gear coming up in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I enjoyed the Elias concert that Monday before more than this cheesy musical that they did on AEW.
No, thank you, Big G. Jason, when I was watching Freddie vs. Jason, your whole last 20 minutes of your movie, I don't remember you and Freddie busting out musical. So with that said, What is your take on this?
Well, I actually can sing if you look up some YouTube videos. Backstreet Boys, I'll Kill You That Way. We had a couple of hits.
There you go.
I even did a rap performance. We're the Killers with Attitude. Look that up on YouTube. So Jason can be entertaining. Jason can dance and sing, and so can MJF and Chris Jericho. It was entertainment. Wrestling is entertainment, and during a pandemic, you have to think outside the box. You need to try different things, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was wild. It was outlandish. It was crazy. But that's what wrestling is. You have Undertaker shooting lightning bolts at people. That's professional wrestling. That's sports entertainment. I just find it funny that on this very same show, they had this musical, and then earlier in the show, Eddie Kingston's like, John Moxley went to the entertainment company, and this is a sport. That just didn't make sense to me.
That's a great point, Jason.
Yeah, but I enjoyed the Otis courtroom segment, and that was very over the top and outlandish. But hey, it's entertainment.
But we're dealing with Otis and Miz, right? And versus MJF and Jericho. The way they're supposed to be these top heels. Jericho might have slid down the comedy road this year, but MJF, that's my problem with this, Jason. It just killed MJF's gimmick, like Robbie said. That's just what I think. It can be saved, but right now, temporarily, it just took the wind out of me.
Well, he's a young man. He already had his shot at Moxley, and he's gone down the ladder a little bit, and he's going to slowly work his way back up. It's going to take time, and I think that's the whole point of the Jericho feud is to eventually build to that, and I think it will take a more serious tone down the line, and once we have fans again, I think that they're going to have a very memorable feud.
Jason, your internet feed, your video quality, is the chat saying that you are just like the big storm has hit Crystal Lake? Because it's almost like you're going off the cell signal. I just wanted to tell you, because I know, Aaron was always very critical of that kind of stuff. Maybe you just don't care, but
well, it's fine on my
we can
end.
still hear and see it, but it's rough.
Well, I will have to go head over to the internet service provider in town, and I'll have to file a complaint.
All right. Well,
how does Jason Voorhees file a complaint?
Oh, you know how.
So he takes his mother's head, puts it on the table, fix my internet. Here's a Vito pointed this out on our Getting Color, which the audio is up on NoDQ.com under the opinion section of this. Not that Jericho would do this, but politics has always been in wrestling. And with MJF, Jericho, we all know he's a guy that wants to get people over. He tried to get Orange Cassidy over. Jungle Boy, people like that. But Vito said he wouldn't be surprised if Jericho is just kind of getting fed up with certain things, wants to collect Tony Khan's money, and figured by doing this, he knew it would diminish MJF and it would bolster Jericho back up there, because damn it, why am I not in the main event scene? And maybe that's his choice, but I could almost see that a little bit. Now, I don't think Jericho's like a Hulk Hogan and a John Cena politicker, but that was just very interesting from someone that's worked in locker rooms. So I wanted to throw that out. As a musical act, the two, MJF has a decent voice. Jericho, but even though he does his Fozzy stuff, pre-recorded, it sounds good. Judas and all of that. So from that standpoint, it was okay. It was solid. I get why people liked it, but it did really hurt MJF, and they're going to have to go and do some saving of this. And I want to see more seriousness. Look at The Rock and Mick Foley. As comical as that was, The Rock always maintained a serious edge, and at the end of that, Foley got serious again. Yes, Jason.
Finally. Psychojet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, Rift Aronson and Retribution is messing with the internet. Probably, that would not surprise me. That idiot T-Bar is always up to no good. I would not be surprised at all if he was messing around and sabotaging it. Maybe it's Freddy Krueger that's up to no good. Who knows?
Now, ask the chat. If the chat answers this, Jason, tell us. Ask the chat, is Robbie, Big G, and me coming through okay, or is your bad internet service causing all of us to be like that on the video end? I don't know, because right now on my Skype, everybody looks pretty good, except Jason's pretty blurry. Yeah. So if the chat says that everyone's fine but you, then I'm fine with that.
Big G has a big smear of crap behind him. I don't know what that is, but
I mean, everybody looks fine from my end. I mean, maybe I should have not killed my technician after he set up my internet. Perhaps that was a lapse in judgment.
Live and learn, my friend.
Absolutely.
Live and learn. It's main event time. And it's really about The Undertaker, right? He's the bread and butter of this main event. And Undertaker 30th anniversary Survivor Series is coming up. Everybody saw the last ride. He's done. He's retired, whatever. Yeah, okay. In wrestling, until you're dead or you physically can't go anymore, you usually come back and do something. Look at what Shawn Michaels did. So what's everybody's take on Taker? What he might do at Survivor Series? Will he show up? Will he do anything? Will he have one more final match in front of fans? Or was that last ride pretty much it? And I also want to talk about Goldberg, because there's been rumors, too, about him stirring things up. And I think he should just stay away. I mean, his last stuff, it's going to be a 2-minute match. I don't want Goldberg to come back for a 2-minute match. Everything he did with Brock was good. Everything after that absolutely sucked because of Goldberg. So, Big G, thoughts on The Undertaker, and we anything about Goldberg. Like, I'm mad about Goldberg.
Yeah, Undertaker, I mean, I'm sure he'll show up at Survivor Series and have an angle with somebody. I don't think he's going to wrestle a match, He's done his thing. He doesn't need to, me personally, he does not need to prove anything to me anymore. He did what he did. He had a tremendous career. Yeah, show up at Survivor Series. Do what you need to do. Maybe announce that you're going into the Hall of Fame at Wrestlemania or something like that. As far as Goldberg, I could care less. I'm done with Goldberg. You made the point. The stuff he did with Lesnar when he first came back with the video game and stuff like that, and beat Lesnar at Survivor Series and whatever else he did. And then after that was just complete shit. Sorry to say that, but it is. That's my take on it. That's all I got to say.
Okay. Well, thank you, Robbie. Or Big G. I'm going to toss it over to you, Robbie Vice. Jason's just giving me that death stare. I'm intimidated. So I lost my train of thought. Robbie?
So we'll get this out of the way quick. F Goldberg. I don't ever want to see him wrestle again. Ever since him and his stupid kid were shirtless in the ring, I just
What do you have against bald people?
What?
What do you have against bald people?
Wars.
Oh my god.
You got a connection issue, Jason. Hopefully when we go back to you, we can understand you. Robbie?
Yeah. So the Undertaker character is obviously one of the most protected and legendary characters in wrestling history, right? I'm not a huge fan of the Biker Taker, but I think the Undertaker character was great. Now, I do not want to see the Undertaker wrestle another live match ever again. I don't want to see it. It's not fun to watch. It ruins the mystique and it tarnishes his legacy. If he has to do one more thing, and we all know what it is, it has to be a cinematic match with Sting, just so we can have it and people can shut up about it. But I think if it's done in a cinematic way, similar to the Last Ride or whatever, I think it could be done well, and I would like to see that. I think I would enjoy that, because I think it could make both of those guys look iconic and legendary, and it could be good. It's just my only fear with that is you run the risk in a cinematic match of having DX and the NWO come out again, and then Sting loses or something. I don't know. So I don't know how they would choose who win that match, but I don't know, man.
Jason, you're back. You're clear. You're crystal lake clear. Oh, that was so awesome.
It's a miracle. All right, so is it my turn to talk? Well, thank you.
Are you done, Robbie?
Yeah.
By the way, Robbie, in case you missed it, I was asking you, what's your problem with bald people?
Oh. Nothing. Okay. Nothing at all, sir.
Good answer.
Not with masks on, but go ahead.
All right, Jason. So we do have some super chats. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. Johnny Boy with the $2 super chat says, The Rock and Stone Cold duet was the best in my opinion. Yes, I agree with that. Although I think that was counterproductive to the Steve Austin character. Although they did turn him back babyface the next week, so that was good. Mike D with a $5 super chat says, Y2J and The Undertaker donated money to Donald Trump. I guess people are going to start hating them now because no one these days are allowed to have an opinion. Well, that is Mike D's opinion. I will not go on Twitter and state that opinion because it's just not a good idea. It's about as good of an idea as taking a summer vacation in my neck of the woods. And we do have a super chat. Thank you for that super chat, by the way. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, Donald Trump cut a better promo than that jobber Ricochet. Well, I'm not going to comment on politics. I have not voted.
Well,
in a very
everything
long
Donald
time.
Trump says is a promo. So,
That's true.
yeah, I mean, that's what he does. He's not a politician.
Adrian sent in a €5 super chat, says, Undertaker comes out and issues a challenge to Rambling Rabbit at the Royal Rumble. Yeah, that's a pretty good idea. You know, Rambling Rabbit, he could train, he could do the Rocky storyline where he's being trained for the match. He's running in New York City, he's running up the Philadelphia steps and all that stuff. Yeah, you could totally do Undertaker versus Rambling Rabbit. And Rob Klein sent in a $5 super chat. What? Rob Klein says, Robbie Vice is the best ever. Well,
That's true. I agree with that. That guy's smart.
he is very smart. And he was smart enough to not insult bald people when Jason was here.
That's
Well,
right.
speaking of bald people, Jason, thoughts on Goldberg?
I like Goldberg. I gotta support my fellow bald man, you know? We have love for each other. We're a community. We're a group.
All right, Larry.
Guarantee a better match than you. He does. I guarantee it.
All right. So anyways, my thoughts on The Undertaker. I do not think he's going to wrestle at Survivor Series. I think if we had a crowd for Survivor Series, it would be a little bit more tempting. But because it's at the Thunderdome, really no point, you know. That match at WrestleMania, probably the right way to end his career. Maybe we'll get one more match. It's too bad because I think 30 years exactly would have been a nice time to have his retirement match. But, you know, sometimes the cards just don't fall the way you want them to. And it is what it is. I think that The Undertaker will come out. He will cut a promo. And I think, you know, there was a comment in the chat room. I think it's very possible this happens. Undertaker cuts a promo, and then Bruce Pritchard comes out as Brother Love, and he takes credit for The Undertaker. Undertaker gives him a Tombstone Piledriver. You know, Brother Love was the first shot when The Undertaker debuted. Last shot, Bruce Pritchard, Brother Love getting the Tombstone Piledriver. I think that's what's going to happen.
All right. Goldberg, I don't care. Don't show back up. Just don't, okay? As for The Undertaker, he's going to be at Survivor Series. They built that Thunderdome with the lightning and all that for an Undertaker entrance. So I think he'll be there, and we're going to get something. Now, is he going to come out and cut a promo like Aaron said, get involved, mix it up? Could he come out and be a deciding factor in one of the matches where he does something and tombstone somebody? Possibly, but yes, he will be there. Not going to wrestle, but he might tombstone or chokeslam somebody. And, you know, I'm thinking Hall of Fame for WrestleMania next year. But I don't know. Are they going to carry over this year's Hall of Fame to next year? Like, how are they going to do that? That's going to be – so it would probably be after that. But I don't know. I mean, never say never with wrestlers. Look at Ric Flair. He actually wrestled again after the Shawn Michaels match, although it was in TNA. Shawn Michaels wrestled again. Undertaker's done it numerous times. But we'll have to see what happens. I mean, anybody in the NoDQ galaxy putting any good things out there, and are pretty much what we've covered about The Undertaker?
Just some different
I mean,
opinions.
not Aaron. Aaron's not here. Jason.
Most people do not want to see Goldberg come back. A few people mentioned The Undertaker and Kane reuniting. A few people mentioned maybe Undertaker and Sting in a cinematic match. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the Sting cinematic match. I think if Undertaker does anything, it'll be in the ring with actual fans. And who knows when that'll happen.
So stay tuned, because we will see who will rest in peace, or will it finally be The Undertaker's career. So with that said, because you know how this works, by the time we get back to Jason, he'll probably have super chats to talk about. We're going to go around the horn and say goodbye. So, Big G, I will start with you. Go.
NoDQ.com/BigBallerG takes us to my Twitter page. NoDQ_BigBallerG1988 on Instagram. Jeff Fields on Facebook, and that's it for me.
Robbie?
See ya.
You can follow Robbie on Twitter at NoDQVice. No space, just at NoDQVice. All right, Jason, over to you.
Okay, we do have a super chat, $5 from Johnny Boy. Thank you, Johnny Boy. He said, Jeff Hardy and Mick Foley are my two favorite crazy wrestlers. Bummed that they never fought. Do you think it would have been crazier than Edge and Foley? Are we sure they never had a match against each other? I find that hard to believe that they never wrestled. But yeah,
I don't think they did.
the two of them in their prime having a match would have been phenomenal. It would have been quite the spectacle, and I would have enjoyed it. I mean, it's a little bit contrast in styles. Mick Foley was more just straight up hardcore wrestling, and Jeff Hardy was more of a high flyer, but I think they would have done something very entertaining. I mean, two talented guys, there's no guarantee because not everybody always has a great chemistry. Sometimes you have two very talented people and they just don't mesh well. But I have a feeling it would have been a very entertaining match. And Adrian with a €2 super chat. Thank you, Adrian. Says, good video. Thank you, David, Jeffrey, Jason, and Robert. Thank you, Adrian, for tuning in. We appreciate it.
Who's David?
I don't know who David is.
It's weird.
Yeah, but
David
I don't know who
Arquette.
Jeffrey
They're
is.
talking about the championship run at WCW, I think.
any
Arquette?
other opinions on Jeff Hardy and Mick Foley?
Goldberg to AEW? I don't know.
Oh, wait.
I have nothing.
We do have a $5 super chat from Psycho Jet Black. He says, Undertaker, Kane, and Mankind versus Jason, Freddy, and Michael Myers in a 6-man tag team match where the winner gets to bury that midget Ricochet to hell. Sign me up. I'm all for it. I would love to take a machete right to the head of Ricochet because that dude...
Oh my God.
That dude needs to get a clue.
Wow.
He really does.
I don't disagree, Aaron, but oh my God, or Jason, oh my God.
Watch it, buddy. You're on thin ice as it is.
Well, we are, this. I mean, he is a serial killer, so.
That's true. And he's mailed me things. He knows where I live.
Yeah, you might want to watch out, Robbie.
Yeah.
You might
Well, Jason, are you done on your end? We passing it back over to me?
I'm ready to get back to the camp.
All right. Well, hey, this has been a great NoDQ review number 115. You can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_virtue. Go to my Facebook, NoDQ.com/virtue. And that's all I got to say. I mean, another great show, NoDQ Galaxy. Be sure to share this, like the video, continue with comments. Robbie Vice will probably go on there and chat with you after the fact. So for Big G, for the remarkable Robbie Vice, for Jason Voorhees, and my itchy nose, dog hair flying around, I am Virtue. We will see you next time.